All right, y'all, I'm gonna try to do my part to clear the air about the term conservative. It's got a bad rap, you know. The whole conservatives are racist thing. I reckon we won't clear all the air with this one. It's like all of us are trapped in a car with someone who just farted and the windows are stuck. And the one who actually farted is trying to blame others for doing it. Needless to say, I am long tired of it.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
Why the crap is the term conservative associated with being racist? I have a theory. Okay, y'all have heard the cockamamie cop-out from Democrats who refuse to own up to their racist history. And when they get cornered on it, they try to say the party switched. I tackle that in my audio book, Weapon of Mass Destruction. Be sure to grab your copy on alfonsorachel.com. But just like they try to cop out and say that the racist Democrats splintered and became the Dixiecrats, who then all became Republicans, which is a lie. Practically all the Dixiecrats went back to the Democrat Party. They also try to spin it and say that those racist Democrats were conservative Democrats. This is why I reckon the term conservative and right-wing has the stigma of being racist. It's because the states' rights issue is a very right-wing conservative concept. The Civil War had a lot to do with the issue of states' rights. As far as the South was concerned, their so-called states' rights were being intruded upon, and they were seen as the real conservatives for being prepared to go to war to maintain their state sovereignties. But they, in truth, were false conservatives compared to the Republicans trying to preserve the Union. And side note, I get sick of hearing from some Republicans who say that no slave was brought to America on a ship waving a Confederate flag. The slave ships flew an American flag. You defending the Confederate flag doesn't help one bit, and people will rightfully see you as racist. But the American flag represents freedom for all. The problem is that some people decided to ignore what it meant. And what these people seem to leave out is that slavery was ultimately abolished under this flag. The flag that was flown on the battlefield to fight slavery was this flag. The battle flag that was flown to keep the so-called right to make people property was this flag. Anyway, remember what I told y'all earlier? Democrats have always had liberal interpretations of the Constitution. They take gross liberties with it, and when they do, they can try to make the argument that it's okay to deprive a person of liberty without due process and force them to be their slave. Or, just like Democrats can take gross liberties with the Constitution and deprive a human being of life without due process and allow a woman to abort her child. So like I said, Democrats are typically not conservative and right-wing in their policies, save one, the states' rights issue, which is a very right-wing conservative stance. But the problem with Democrats is that they wanted to take this right-wing concept and take gross liberties with it. Just like a Democrat has the sick belief that a woman's so-called right to abort her child should be put before her child's right to live, Democrats also put states' rights before human and civil rights. Democrats wanted to use their so-called states' rights to deprive people of their right to liberty, which conflicts with the supreme law of the land. See, a true conservative is very states' rights oriented, but we true conservatives are consistent in that we know that no state can practice denying anybody of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, or property. And if they do, then the federal government has grounds to intervene. Democrats couldn't handle that and ultimately formed the KKK. Not just because they were angry at blacks or anybody who wasn't their idea of white and their twisted view of Christianity. They had a personal vendetta against Republicans, whom they saw as the intruder upon their so-called states' rights. We Republicans have always been states' rights oriented, even after the stigma Democrats have brought to pro-states' rights minded people. And just like I say in my book, these liberal Democrats demonize the concept of states' rights and make it out to be racist. But it's okay for them to be pro-states' rights on the things that they want, which of course will not stop there. They'll of course want the federal government to force all the states to make all the things they want legal, just like they did with abortion. Then legalization of drugs will be next, and then prostitution, then the redefinition of marriage, etc. And not necessarily in that order. Just like they did with abortion, they will use the federal government to make all states make it legal to do such things. Which is why I laugh at libertarians, because they're also the big legalize everything party. but refuse to see that not only will that lead to bigger government in their states, the federal government will ultimately get involved to make said things legal in all states. So again, Democrats took one right-wing conservative concept for their desires to do a bunch of left-wing things with it. That never made the Democrats truly conservative. They've always been liberal. And liberalism means that your needs and comforts can be met at the forced expense of others. Democrats fought to keep having their desires at the forced expense of slaves. And now they've moved on to having programs that keep people dependent on them at the forced expense of the job creators. And this certainly does not conserve our republic. It's exhausting it. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation. I'm a Christian conservative Republican, and I refuse to be labeled by liberals.